Ukrainian troops reportedly surrounded and destroyed a small unit from the Russian 810th Naval Infantry Brigade on the northern edge of Ukraine's 250-square-mile salient in western Russia's Kursk Oblast on Friday. It's the latest disaster for one of the lead units in Russia's 8-day-old counteroffensive in the Oblast. Anticipating that U.S. President-elect Donald Trump will lean on Ukraine to agree to an armistice that freezes the front line in place, Russian Press. Vladimir Putin has ordered his troops to eject Ukrainian troops from Kursk before Trump's January inauguration. There are weeks of hard fighting ahead, but so far the Russians have advanced just a few hundred yards while losing more than 100 vehicles and potentially thousands of troops killed and wounded. The 2,000-person 810th Naval Infantry Brigade, backed by thousands of North Korean reinforcements, might be the hardest hit. The 810th Brigade is bleeding right now, one Russian blogger reported. Every day it is sent on unprepared assaults against the Ukrainian 95th Air Assault Brigade's persistent defense. The first 2 days of attacks on November 7 and 8 cost the 810th Naval Infantry Brigade dearly and revealed deep dysfunction in the brigade's chain of command that has contributed to its catastrophic losses. According to Russian blogger Romanov, the brigade's officers told the Russian General Staff the roads around the village of Pogrebki, on the front line just north of the Kursk salient, were clear of Ukrainian mines. Logically, after receiving this information, the General Staff issued an order to storm the settlement, Romanov explained. The roads weren't clear of mines. The 810th Naval Infantry Brigade's factory-fresh BTR-82 wheeled fighting vehicles exploded like firecrackers. The vehicles that got through ran into a wall of Ukrainian artillery, missiles, drones, and tank fire. The 95th Air Assault Brigade claimed it, and adjacent brigades destroyed 36 Russian vehicles and killed 100 Russian Marines in those first 2 days. Rather than learning from that disastrous experience, the 810th Naval Infantry Brigade continued sending troops on doomed assaults. Deliberate disinformation to the General Staff by the command of the 810th Brigade has become a routine practice, Romanov wrote. Russia is advancing, but it's also spending significant amounts of men and material in the process, explained Emil Kastahelmi, an analyst with the Black Bird Group. And those advances are modest. The Ukrainians no longer control Pogrebki, but the Russians don't fully control it either. An M2 Bradley fighting vehicle from the Ukrainian 47th Mechanized Brigade shot up Russian BTR-82s in Orlovka, just south of Pogrebki, on Thursday. The same day, the 95th Air Assault Brigade counterattacked in the area and captured some Russian Marines. No one knows for sure what Trump will do, or more precisely, try to do once he takes office on January 20. His cabinet picks are a bizarre mix. A television host with modest military experience for defense secretary, a notorious conspiracy theorist for intelligence director. The still-forming Trump administration may suffer deep dysfunction. How that might shape the war in Ukraine remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, according to Tatarigami, the founder of the Ukrainian Frontelligence Insight Analysis Group. Anyone who thinks Ukrainians will simply give up hasn't been paying attention, Tatarigami wrote. It helps Ukraine's ongoing resistance that at least one key Russian brigade is fighting blind on the basis of bad intelligence and worse orders. Ukraine used long-range ATAK-EMS missiles against a target inside Russia for the first time on Tuesday, according to Ukrainian news agency RBC Ukraine, citing a source inside the country's defense forces. The missiles struck a munitions storage facility near the city of Karachev in Bryansk Oblast in western Russia, over 70 miles from the Ukrainian border, on November 19th, the outlet said. Indeed, this is the first time that ATAK-EMS has been used to strike Russian territory. The strike was carried out on a facility in the Bryansk region, and it was successfully destroyed, the source told the outlet. President Biden has also committed to providing anti-personnel landmines to Ukrainian forces as they look to make up ground ahead of President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration next year. Biden has increased his support for Kyiv ahead of President-elect Donald Trump's return to the White House, who is anticipated to adopt a more lenient approach toward Russia and advocate for peace talks. Trump has repeatedly promised to end the Russian invasion of Ukraine within 24 hours, without providing details of how he will achieve the objective. Ukraine pressed the U.S. for months to approve long-range strikes into Russian territory, but the White House hesitated, citing concerns about escalation. However, Moscow's decision to deploy North Korean soldiers to the Ukrainian front has shifted the Biden-Harris administration's stance. It comes as the Russian Ministry of Defense reported on Wednesday that it had intercepted 44 drones launched overnight by Ukrainian forces, including 3 over the Belgorod region. Meanwhile, the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv has been shut down following specific intelligence regarding a potential airstrike.
Пос-